It's time for Nature versus Nature SmackDown! Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat New York, aka AOC, aka Socialist Barbie, has become something of a political celebrity this year, due to the fact that she says things that make people assume she's a character on Saturday Night Live or The Simpsons, and not an actual politician. In several public speeches, she declared that the world would end in 12 years if we didn't fix global warming right now. Members of the Jehovah's Witnesses cult immediately quit their jobs and sold all their worldly possessions in order to wait for the end to come, just as they did each of the 18 times their religious leaders said Jesus was coming back. And he hasn't come back yet. AOC has decided that the time to act is now because the Earth is going to be destroyed in less time than it takes to get through the line at the DMV by man-made global warming, which is now climate change due to the lack of actual warming for the past 17 years. One of the causes of this alarming climate change, she asserts, is cow farts. Cows are farting, and the government has to do something about it! In her own words, which I am not making up, she said, "It's not like we're going to force everyone to go vegan or anything crazy like that, but it's to say, listen, we've got to address factory farming. Maybe we shouldn't be eating a hamburger for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Let's keep it real." Her plan to keep it real is called the Green New Deal, and it's been the focus of a lot of attention. The New York Post had this to say about the Green New Deal's relationship to cow farts. According to an initial outline of the measure, the freshman Democrat and Senator Edward Markey, Democrat Massachusetts, said they, quote, set a goal to get to net zero rather than zero emissions in 10 years because we aren't sure that we'll be able to fully get rid of farting cows and airplanes that fast. In case I forgot, they want to get rid of airplanes, and probably all cars and trucks too. Maybe they think we'll go back to riding horses. Does AOC think that horses don't fart? But I digress. The reason I bring up this recent political movement against bovine toots is to discuss the worldview underlying this taking of sides. The environmental movement tends to be a very leftist movement, with no association with, and often open hostility against, the Christian church, much like feminism, or, let's be honest, anything the left champions, which they seem to champion merely as an excuse to attack the Christian church. But again, I digress. But in a godless, naturalistic worldview, mankind is just another animal, is he not? And cows are clearly just another animal, are they not? So when we decide to stand against what men and cows do for the sake of nature, aren't we choosing to side with nature against nature for nature? Or at the very least, aren't we siding with the weather against the animals? How does one decide which part of nature to side with and which to side against? Cows do toot, but surely elephants toot more, and rhinos and hippos. There are all sorts of large animals which surely toot more than cows toot. Should we kill them all to protect the weather? And what about people who eat at Taco Bell? Is our government really going to let those people go unopposed when the weather is at stake? In a similar wild versus wild scenario, we have what are called invasive species, according to the fountain of knowledge, which is Wikipedia. An invasive species is a species that is not native to a specific location, and that has a tendency to spread to a degree believed to cause damage to the environment, human economy, or human health. These include everything from plants to snakes to fish, and all it means is they migrated into an area uninvited or accidentally and upset the population as it was. Anytime I've ever heard this discussed, people talk about the invasive species as a problem to be solved. But from an evolutionary viewpoint, isn't this just survival of the fittest? Something finds a niche in a new environment and grows wildly because it is fit to that environment. Isn't this how any species came to be wherever it's found? Unless we look at nature as the creation of God, which he charged us with governing, then what guides the choice to make us oppose pollution or invasive species? In short, it becomes either the perverse defense of the earth over and above the human race, or it's entirely arbitrary. AOC isn't concerned with making sure that people have food to eat. She's concerned with protecting the earth from cow toots. She doesn't care what God's design was or what our role was when we were created. She views us as an invasive species spreading around the world and causing changes. But she has chosen to side with the earth over and above her human family. The Green New Deal didn't come from the back of a cow, but it still really stinks. Whoosh! Thank you for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. And remember, Jesus loves you.